Hey, hey, what's going on? 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners. This is your boy DJ Immortal. You know what I mean? So we got a great interview actually coming up here momentarily. We actually have Eric the Genetic Freak Thompson, man. See, lately I've been getting into sports interviews, man, and me personally, I grew up loving mixed martial arts. It's always been one of those things, man, that I really enjoyed as a kid, man. And then now that I have the technology to do it, clearly I'm going to jump into it, right? So he is actually a fighter for BKFC, current fighter. I don't want to give too many things away, of course. But he's an award winner, power lifter. So if I get too deep into it, then what's the point of the interview, right? You know what I mean? But ladies and gentlemen, while we're waiting for him to join the feed, I just want to say to everybody that is listening, that's watching this, whether it's live or pre-recorded or available on our YouTube channel, thank you for just supporting what I do. But we actually have Eric Thompson right here, man. We got War Daddy. You already know what to do. I'm going to let him introduce himself, but we're going to bring him on right here, right now.
Eric, War Daddy Thompson, man. Thank you for having me on the show, bro. I've been looking forward to this. Been a highly anticipated moment for me.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, man, you are a phenomenal fighter, man. So I'm just happy and humbled to be able to converse with you and chop it up live on the radio station Airwaves this evening.
Likewise, man. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
But I gotta ask, man, because I know you're a busy guy, you know what I mean. But I'm going to dive right into this interview, man. And I got to ask, first and foremost, man, what actually made you decide to get into mixed martial arts in the first place?
Probably the movie Bloodsport growing up as a kid. You know, it was Jean-Claude Van Damme and those guys, bro. It was, I think it has to do something like that, bro, like the Bloodsport. And I remember going to my first cage fight to watch a cage fight and just waiting in line to get a ticket to get in, and then seeing all the fighters walk past, and the way everybody was kind of like looking at them like, wow, you know. I was like, you know what, next time, man, I'm not going to be standing in this line like this, you know. I think I was like 17 years old, bro, and I was like, I got to get in here, you know. I got to get that respect. I love that respect that they got, you know. So that's what it was, bro. That's what it was, man.
And I got to ask, man, just going back to when you said you were going to these cage fighting matches when you were younger, man. Me personally, I'm a little bit younger myself, so I didn't get the opportunity to experience the beginning stages of mixed martial arts. Was the rule set and the shows different than what they actually are known as today? Was it more bloody and violent?
I think it was definitely more violent back then. Definitely the coaches and the cornermen, their instructions were more violent back then. Even the crowd was more violent back then. You know, the sport evolved from a crowd that only wanted to see a knockout to a crowd that could appreciate, jiu-jitsu, a crowd that could appreciate a triangle submission, So, I mean, I've seen it evolve. You may have seen it evolve too, to where people, they're not booing when two guys are wrestling the majority of the time, like they would have been some years ago,
But also, man, aside from mixed martial arts, I actually read that you were actually a 2-time USA powerlifting champion with a record of 1,600 pounds, man. Right, I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a bit more about this. And, of course, how does it feel to have 2 championships under your belt?
Well, the 2 American championships was pretty cool because I won those when I was 19 years old, and I competed against a bunch of adults. I competed against a bunch of professional men, competed against a bunch of guys from college that were doing it, and I was able to beat those guys, twice. So, I mean, I was looking at competition overseas, like in Russia, teenagers in Russia. I wasn't really looking at the numbers that American guys were putting up anymore, So that was pretty cool, bro. Really only having competition overseas, So it got to that point for me because I had won Louisiana, the southern states like Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas. It's kind of like the SEC with football. That's where in those southern states that's where the best power lifters in a country come from. Like I said, Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana, that's where the best ones come from. And I was able to beat all those guys, man. So that was actually more of an accomplishment to me, beating the Southern guys than beating the whole country, you know. But yeah, I won America twice, and it felt good, man. Like I said, only looking at my competition being overseas and like Russia and places like that. That was a cool period in my life, you know.
And I have to ask, man, did you ever actually consider actually trying out for the Olympics? Because I got to say, man, 1,600 pounds is a huge accomplishment, man. Me personally, I can barely lift like 200. So
well, the 1,600 pounds is a combination of 3 different lifts. It's a combination of a bench press, of a squat, and of a deadlift. Yeah, you know, 1,600 gonna get 1,600 from having a 600-pound squat, a 600-pound deadlift, and a 400-pound bench press is gonna give you a 1,600-pound total. You know, so it's not necessarily lifting 1,600 pounds in one time, but it's a combination of 3 different lifts. And those lifts, the 600 squat, the 600 deadlift, and the 400-pound bench, that still today, that's impressive. Like today on social media, man, they see high school kids doing that, bro. And it's like, oh man, these kids on Instagram, bro, like squatting 700 pounds and stuff, bro. Man, that's so incredible. But we didn't have that motivation when I was doing it. It was just the guys in the weight room with you that you wanted to see them do it, you know. And we didn't have the whole world watching us. It probably would have been some motivation to have a social media back then, with the world watching you. I probably would have lifted 100 more pounds on everything, bro. I like to tell myself that anyway. I like to tell myself that. But these little jokers are strong today, man.
yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know how kids are nowadays, man. Because like I look at some of the kids nowadays, and I'm like, damn, man. Like I used to be the tallest kid in my school, man, and then I look at kids now; they're like 7 feet, and I'm like, God damn, dude, what do you feed your kids?
Yeah, bro. Something's going on today, man. Something's going on with these kids today, bro.
But also, man, when I first discovered you, man, was back in WFC World Fighting Championships, man, and I remember as well that you actually joined them after being retired for 4 years. And I gotta ask, man, what actually made you decide to get back in the octagon? And of course, that deal with WFC, how did it come to be, man? Because you were just a force to be reckoned with in that promotion.
WFC came around because of one of the boxing matchmakers here in Louisiana got in touch with me and told me about WFC coming to Baton Rouge, to the state capital here in Louisiana. And he was able to get me on that show. I think the first time I fought for them, I fought about 185 pounds. And actually, my brother in training, I don't know, I feel like I got a thumb in the eye or something happened to my eye in training, man. So I went into that fight with a black eye, a really injured eye. And it just I didn't want to back out. You know, I didn't want to back out. I never want to back out of a fight. You know, if I can fight, I'm gonna fight. You know, and I didn't want to back out, even though I had the eye injury. And eye injury is serious, man, because you know you only have 2 eyes. You only have 2 eyes, and if they get injured, then you're pretty much no good. Unless unless you're good at being blind. I don't know, but I really couldn't give my best performance in that first fight, that first WFC fight. But they wound up bringing me back a few times for some boxing matches, a couple of fights out in Las Vegas. But yeah, WFC, I enjoyed my time with WFC. They were pretty cool.
And I gotta say, man, they were a great company in my personal opinion. Because back then, you didn't have BKFC and whatnot, so it was a really good alternative than just watching UFC all the time.
Right. Yeah, it was, bro. And there are a lot of good promotions, man, other than the UFC to watch. I don't know if you've been keeping up with One Championship over in Asia. You know, they're huge. There's a lot of big promotions, man. There's a lot of promotions today. A lot of fighters today. A lot of fighters. Like hundreds of thousands of fighters, bro. You know, there's a lot of guys, man. But I don't know, you know, they're gonna all weed each other out, you know, and it's only gonna be the real fighters after a while. After a while, it's only gonna be the real fighters. Like you said with the BKFC, that's a hectic that sport right there, man. Is you're gonna put some wear and tear on those guys, bro. So I think the most important thing is like going to be self-preservation with these sports. You know, like continuing further on for people like myself and other people that maybe listen to this that are fighting. I think the number one thing is self-preservation, man. Protecting your head, protecting your body. You know, staying injury-free. You know, longevity. Longevity is most important, man.
And also as well, man, in 2018, you actually reigned supreme with a second round knockout where you also earned the Mr. Vicious Award. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a bit more about that night. And of course, how does it feel to actually have that Gladiator Combat Award on your mantelpiece today?
Well, a funny thing about that, because that fight, I actually fought my opponent that night. He weighed like 200. He weighed in like 248 pounds. It was actually a grudge match. I think I weighed in like 205 or 206, but that was actually a grudge match that I had with a guy from Louisiana named Anthony Barbier, and he had fought a buddy of mine. Out in Houma, and they were fighting at heavyweight at the time, and he wound up an accidental groin shot to my buddy, and my buddy went down, man, and kind of kicked him while he was down. You know, he kicked him while he was down, and even though he's a lot bigger than me, I told the promoter, man, you know, I want to fight that guy for what he just did. I want to fight him for what he just did, you know, and he was saying that it would probably be difficult to get the commission to set that fight up, you know. So I wound up getting up to like 206 pounds just so that fight could happen. And it wound up being a 6-second knockout. It tied Hector Lombard 6-second knockout when he had his. So you know, I came out trying to touch gloves with him. He shook his head, he don't want to touch gloves. So I just hit him with a lead hook, and that was it. that was it. That was it. He shook his head no like that, and I guess I was already close enough. You know, you might as well have touched gloves. Because had he touched gloves, then I would have backed up, and we would have like try to work our way in. But I was close enough to touch gloves with him, and he shook his head no. And I was like, all right, wow, 6-second knockout, you know, tied the world record fastest knockout. Because it was Hector Lombard had a 6-second knockout, and Dwayne Ludwig had a 6-second knockout, you know. So I was right up there with them.
Like they always say, though, you know what I mean? The bigger they are, the faster they fall, man. You know what I mean? He definitely felt like a sack of potatoes that night.
He did, man. He did. A lot of people don't know about that. That fight's not even on my record. It's not even on my professional record. I have video footage of it, but I don't have it on no record at all.
And I have to ask you, like, does that kind of upset you that it's actually that an actual such an amazing like 6-second like knockout fight, man? Does that kind of upset you that it's that no one actually recognizes that amazing knockout?
Well, I kind of understand the circumstances with the promoter at the time, what happened with the promotion and why the promotion went under. So, from what I understand, promoters were supposed to turn in, you know, like fighters' records to the commission of the state. And this guy, I guess he just was not a very responsible promoter. So he wound up letting his show go. And I guess he didn't turn in a lot of the fight records, so it could go online or go into the boxing commissioner record. But I mean, does it bother me? That is not. Well, I never really even thought about it, bro, because I always just appreciated the video footage that I had, and I always said someday I would go to the commission and try to get them to put it on my record. But I mean, it would be cool, like if it was actually recognized, because it was a legitimate 6-second KO. I mean, maybe I would have more followers online. You know, I don't know, but it's all good. I know what to do. I know how to do it. You know, and that's all it really matters. I could do it again if I want to.
And also, man, when we're on the topic of knockouts, man, we actually have an Instagram submitted question, man, from an individual by the name of Little_Matt_2018, man. He wants to know, when did you first realize you could just knock a motherfucker out whenever you felt like it?
The first time I ever took a cage fight, it would have probably been after about my. Honestly, it would probably have to be after like my. I'm gonna say 20 second fight inside of a cage or a ring. it's the first time I ever got my hands wrapped was a 6-second knockout, and I was like, okay, it's the wraps. It's the wrap. You got to get the right person to wrap your hands, and if they do a good job, then you can do it. Because for a very long time, I used to fight without never wrapping my hands because I always was under the impression that the hand wraps was like cushion. I don't know what made me think that, but for a very long time, I thought that the hand wraps was like cushion. So I fought so many fights just with a glove on with no wraps. And the very first time when I was fighting that big guy, a friend of mine said, "Man, let me wrap your hands for you." And he wrapped my hands really, really good. And I got the 6-second knockout. And the wraps made the difference. I'm not even gonna lie. The wraps make the difference. They make the difference.
And also
like
as well,
in a boxing match, just like in a boxing match, they're gonna, those guys, they're gonna punch for 12 rounds, punching each other in the head, punching each other in the elbow. They cannot do that without the wraps.
and I gotta say, man, that advice right there could actually help fighters that are actually just starting out, man. Because like you said, a lot of these fighters might think that just those wraps are cushions, right?
No, they're not. They're bricks. They're cast. They're bricks. They're protection. They're protection.
And also, as we already know, man, you are a current fighter for BKFC. I was wondering, how did that contract with them come to be? And of course, so far, what are your thoughts on that company? Because I believe they're only about like 2 or 3 years old.
Man, BKFC is the best shit they got. BKFC is the best shit they got, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I don't have nothing bad to say about BKFC. Only thing about BKFC is it's a popularity contest. So you can literally beat a clown and you're gonna get a fight because you got a following, which I understand. It's a money making business, and it's about spreading BKFC awareness. So you could get Ronald McDonald that serves 6 billion customers. He's gonna get on there. He's gonna fight because he got that large following. So people like me, I don't really have a large following, so it makes it a little bit more difficult for us to get fights when we have other guys that have like 100,000 people following or 10,000 people following. It make it a little bit more difficult. But other than that, what BKFC has going on right now is the most interesting sport on the planet right now. BKFC is the most interesting promotion, not just sport. I'm going to say promotion on the planet right now. I think all eyes are on BKFC right now. All eyes.
And I gotta say, man, I agree with that, man, because BKFC is doing some phenomenal things. And even to watch it, man, it kicks pay-per-view prices asses. Like $3.99 a month, and you can watch everything.
Yep. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They getting people addicted to these fast knockouts. They getting people addicted to these cuts and all this bleeding. And they're gonna be hooked. Everybody's gonna be hooked. They're gonna be hooked. They know what they're doing. They're doing good. They're doing good.
And I gotta ask, man, as well, because obviously, as we know, like you're a boxer, you're an MMA fighter, you're a bare knuckle fighter as well. But I have to ask you, man, was it a different transition going from mixed martial arts to bare knuckle fighting? Like, did it take some time getting used to, or the moment you stepped in that ring, where you're like, you know what, this shit is natural?
The first time I stepped in the BKFC ring, man, I was just like this. I could not stop smiling, bro. I could not stop smiling. I was just like, I just thought as soon as I hit this dude, it's gonna be over. I was like, as soon as I hit this dude, it's gonna be over. I was not thinking like he could hit you too, So when a referee, when he stepped out of the way and he said scratch, I just dug into that guy, bro. But he had this big beard, and I think my punch hit him on the collarbone because it like went into his beard and like disappeared. So if I would land on his chin, I would have beat Uli Diaz's KO record. I know it for a fact. But it went into his beard and like disappeared, and it hit his chest. If it would have hit him on his chin, man, I don't know. But the difference from being in a cage and being in that ring, the square circle, it's just bro. It's like for me, for me, people like myself, that every time we get into a fight, it doesn't matter whether it's a boxing match or a cage match or a bare knuckle match. Our whole intent is looking for a knockout. If you always looking for a knockout, even if you're a fighter, if you're always looking for a knockout, BKFC gonna love it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like they put you right there. They put you right there in his face. They put you right there in his face. You know, they put you right there in his face, and they tell you to scratch. You could back up if you want to. You could jump to the side, to the left, to the right, or you could just lay into his face as hard as you can. And that's what I love. I like that. I like that. You know, I like that part. I don't know. I like that.
And I like it too, man. Like I just watched the actual BKFC 18 live, man. I gotta say that was 5.5 hours of fighting, and I didn't even realize it was 5.5 hours till I looked over at the clock. I'm like, shit, it's 2:30 in the morning, man. Like, you know what I mean? It would phenomenal pay-per-view, man.
In the morning, it was morning time. It was morning time, and they boys were still throwing down. Yep.
I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I actually felt hungover when I woke up, man. I'm like, I didn't even drink booze last night. I was up so late.
Yeah, man. That was a hell of a show, man. That was a hell of a show. Every BKFC show gets better because it's like they watch film on the previous show and they learn from their mistakes. So each show grows faster and faster, better and better. I don't know if you notice it, but it's like they realize now, let's not use that black tarp anymore. Let's stick with the white tarp. The white tarp, you can see the blood on it. The white tarp, it looks vibrant. You know, it looks vibrant like fighting in the Pride organization or something. You know, that's what I noticed. They're not using that black tarp anymore. That black tarp kind of remind me of like a tough guy competition in a bar somewhere. But that vibrant white tarp that they're using now with all the sponsors on it, it looks so upscale and classy. You know, it looks so upscale, that white tarp. I don't know if they're ever gonna use the black tarp again. I don't know, but they get better and better every show, man. Better and better.
And I gotta ask, man, as well, because March 19th, 2021, man, you actually fought against Ryan Jones at your most recent fight, BKFC 16. And I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a bit more about this fight. And of course, what was it like actually having Ryan Jones as your opponent?
Having Ryan Jones as an opponent was really cool because Ryan Jones was the first, probably one of the only opponents that I ever had to fight that was not animosity built up online. So going into that fight, I really didn't have any bad blood with him. So it was weird, man. I think that's part of why I kept smiling so much, because I was just excited about being there. And Ryan was cool, bro. You know, he didn't talk no crap. He didn't have no bad body language, no bad vibes at all. So having him as an opponent, it was to have him as an opponent, it was probably an advantage that I had over a lot of other people who had a debut, because for them, those other people, they probably felt like, all right, this is gonna be a fight of my life. This dude, he's gonna try to kill me. I'm gonna try to kill him. With Ryan Jones, it was more like, we're gonna try to kill each other, but we're not really gonna try to hurt each other. You know, we're not gonna do nothing dirty. Like, it was like it's like an agreement, like a subliminal gentleman's agreement that we wasn't gonna do no dirty stuff. You know, but we're gonna put on a fight, and I like that. You know, with a dirty fighter, they're gonna do some cheap shot, or y'all in the clinch and they say some dirty stuff to you. There was never any of that with him. You know, there was never any of that, and I like that.
And also, I got to ask, man, if we actually have anyone from the BKFC locker room watching this, whether it's live or the replay, is there anything you want to address to the individuals in the locker room, man? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, Lorenzo Hunt, man. If you're watching, or when you watch, you need to watch. If you're not, shut up. Like, shut up with all that. You're the baddest BKFC fighter on the planet. You're the hardest hitter on the planet. You're the big brother of everybody. You're the bully of everybody. The BKFC is your organization. Hector Lombard got his title, but he went around you. Shut up, bro. Like, shut up. That's really all I gotta say. Everybody else keep doing what you're doing. Brandon Lambert, keep trolling people. You know, everybody do what y'all do, but Lorenzo Hunt, like, shut up, bro. Like, cause you're really gonna make me mad, and I'm gonna do you like Hector Lombard did you. I'm gonna two-piece you too. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. Lorenzo Hunt, shut up, bro. Go sit down. That's all.
I gotta say though, man, I think yourself and Lorenzo need to get in the squared circle together, man. Because I would love to see you just knock his teeth down his throat.
We do. Because Lorenzo Hunt, he likes to call himself. It's cool to call yourself an alpha male and all that, but it's not cool to say basically if you're not me, if you're not Lorenzo Hunt, then you're wasting your time being a BKFC fighter. You know, he tried to make it seem like if you're not him, then you do not stand a chance. Like, you do not stand a chance against him. Everybody watch you get knocked out by Gustavo Trujillo, you know, but they don't market that. You're not really going to find that fight, you know, when you're looking through BKFC footage, because Lorenzo Hunt is managed by someone that works for the BKFC. So they're going to do their best to protect his image. But Lorenzo Hunt is all talk. He's all talk, and his jaw has been compromised. Everybody done seen him get lights out. With Lorenzo Hunt, you gotta catch him. You gotta punch him in his face, because Lorenzo Hunt drop people when the momentum is going backwards, and he already know that he got him beat at the weigh-ins because of how he always getting in their face. But it's not gonna work with me. It didn't work with Hector Lombard when he jumped in there and got two-piece. Like, Lorenzo Hunt was exposed that night. You know, he's online now, like on Instagram and all that, saying that it was a publicity stunt, that he let Hector Lombard punch him like that. No, bro. Like, he got exposed that night. And it's like going to any new school, a new school, a new workplace. I don't know, but it's like going to a new university, and there's a new school, and there's a bully who's just telling everybody that he'll beat them up. Well, I'm new to this school, and you're gonna have to show me that you can beat me up. You're not just gonna tell me like that. And that's where I'm at with Lorenzo Hunt. I'm not saying that I know for a fact if we fight, I'm gonna beat him, but I'm saying I want to fight you because you talk too much about beating people up. That's it.
And I'm going to be honest, though, man. You can tell that there wasn't a publicity stunt, man. You know what I mean? Like, he walked up on Hector, and Hector just fed it to him, man. Because that right there is the MMA veteran in Hector that took a stance there. You know what I mean? Well, someone steps to you like that, it's either punch first or you get hit. So you know what I mean? Hector just gave him that two-piece.
He did it. He actually did it. He did it at the weigh-ins the day before when he took the belt from the ring girl. When Joe Riggs and Hector Lombard were coming up to do their face-off, Lorenzo Hunt took the belt from the girl and held it up in the air and walked up behind Joe Riggs and was staring down at Hector Lombard, like just staring in his face. And after Hector Lombard and Joe Riggs separated, I seen Hector Lombard go to Dave Feldman and say something. You know, he said something and pointed to Lorenzo, probably along the lines of, I don't like what he just did. So Lorenzo Hunt came in there a second time, already was aggressive at the weigh-ins. And I'm sure Hector Lombard had it on his mind all night. Like, man, if that dude ever do that to me again, I'm gonna be with him, you know. And he did it again. He jumped over the ring and just go straight up to Hector Lombard's face, man. Like, Hector was not having that, bro. And you can see Hector said something to him before he popped him, because he put his hand on his chest and he said something to him, and then he popped him twice. And Lorenzo's hands just closed his eyes, ducked his head, hands with the flailing all in the air. Like, that was it right there. All of that screaming that he did after the fact. You see all that screaming that Lorenzo did after the fact? That's Lorenzo. That's Lorenzo. All that talking that he did after he got popped, after he ducked his head, and after he took 5 steps back, and then all those people got in front of him, and he started screaming, that's the real Lorenzo right there.
And I don't know, in my personal opinion, I'm not a fighter. You know what I mean? I'm just some white guy from Canada. But if you want to be a fighter, man, I believe you shouldn't be running your mouth. You should be actually getting in the squared circle and actually putting your fists up and let your fists do the talking. After all, that's what you're getting paid for.
I mean, he has, bro. He has. He's 6-1 in the BKFC. You know, he done fought on damn near every show they got. But the one loss that he has is just as bad as when Anderson Silva broke his leg. I mean, it's like you could be, who wants to be 100 wins and one loss, and that one loss be so disgusting and gruesome that your family begs you to stop the sport. And that's the kind of loss that Lorenzo had. He had a loss where I'm sure his own family like begged him to quit fighting. I've never had a loss like that. I don't care how many losses I had on my record. I have never had a gruesome, disgusting knockout loss like that. You know, if this was like the Mortal Kombat game, or if the commission was set up to where if you got knocked out disgusting like that, you can never fight again, Lorenzo wouldn't even be fighting right now. Like if they really were concerned about fighters' mental health in the future, Lorenzo would not be fighting right now because he got knocked out so bad. I've never had that happen to me. So I would rather take 10 losses through a rear naked choke, a triangle, a close decision, you know, stuff like that, than one disgusting, gruesome, horrific, terrible knockout. Like who wants that? Like who wants that? Who wants that? I would rather be 50 wins and 50 losses with 50 knockout wins and 50, you know, miscellaneous shits than 100 wins and one Freddy Krueger knockout.
And I'm gonna be honest, man, when you actually brought up that leg break, man, I remember watching that back in the day, man. And oh, dude, like this Anderson when he snapped his leg. I mean, it still makes me cringe, man, because you saw it like an elastic band, man. I'm glad he got back into fighting after that, man, because I did not think he would ever get back in the octagon.
Chris Weidman just did the same thing, you know. That's the crazy part. Chris Weidman just had the same injury. There's been three guys in the UFC that I've seen that injury happen to. I don't know if you remember Corey Hill from the Ultimate Fighter, who fought he fought Nate Diaz in the firehouse.
I remember that, yeah.
Corey Hill snapped his leg too in the UFC, just like that. That's scary. I don't know what
it most definitely is,
man. I don't know. That's scary right there.
But I gotta ask you, man, what is next for yourself in BKFC, man? Because I know, you know, you're doing some phenomenal things. Do you have any fights currently planned or anything in the works right now? Like, what is next for yourself, Eric Thompson?
Honestly, I don't really have anything lined up with BKFC right now. You know, I'm just gonna always be ready to go because you know, I know they got a lot of new guys now. Since I fought in the BKFC 16, they had 2 shows and they had a lot of these different tryouts around the country. So I know they got a lot of new guys, but like I said, these guys, they're gonna be getting hurt. You know, they're gonna be getting hurt. So I'm gonna always be ready. As far as coming into the BKFC, how I got the contract with them, they pursued me. You know, I never heard of it before. I never knew what it was until about February when Paige Van Zandt, Chris Lieben, you know, when they had that big show in Miami, that's when I heard about it. I heard about it around that time in February of 2020. I believe it was 2020. I don't even remember at this point, but whether it was February this year, February last year, that's when I heard about it. That was the first time I heard about it, was February of this year. And I wound up getting a phone call maybe a week or two after that Miami show to fight in the BKFC. I'm like, I said, sure, I'll do it. Actually, the first question I asked, I said, do guys get a lot of hand injuries? And they said, I'm not going to lie to you, man. Like every fight, there's hand injuries. So I said, I'll fight for BKFC, but I want to fight at 175 pounds. And I said I want my first fight to be Melvin Gilliard. And I was told that would happen. Like, all right, cool. That we'll make that happen. But when I wound up fighting for them, signing a contract with them, it was at 185 pounds against Ryan Jones, you know, which that fight was not a good fight for me because I had, like I said, I don't already had all these MMA fights, like 30 fights, like more fights than like 10 dudes back there combined. You know, that's not even including my amateur record and all that. So this was like one of the first, other than the 3 boxing matches, like I forgot my shoes at home, bro. Like I forgot my shoes at home, and I had to wear Adrian Miles shoes, and Adrian Miles' feet were literally like 2, 3 sizes smaller than mine. So I really didn't have a good showing on my first fight because I did keep losing my foot, and I did wind up keep falling down. But prior to me falling down, everybody was able to see my power. You know, I drew first blood on BKFC 16. I drew first blood. I drew first blood, and that's what they love. They love a knockout. They love blood, and I drew first blood on that show. You know, I put the first man down on that show. You know, after that, it was kind of hard to move around because my toes wouldn't flex. Like they were kind of like bent up in there. So I didn't, I really didn't get to show what I was capable of my first fight. But my next one, I'll be ready. I'll have everything I need. And the only reason that I did leave my shoes was because I kept all my equipment in my car. I go to the gym, I come home, I keep all my equipment in my car. Well, on the day of the fight, I have all these different people want to show up to my house, and want me to ride to the venue with them. So we wound up getting to like a big SUV with like 7 people, and we all ride to the venue. And I realized, damn, I left my shoes because I was anticipating on driving my own vehicle. So I wound up leaving my shoes, and I'm back there backstage warming up in my tennis shoes that I wore, my regular tennis shoes. I'm warming up, moving around, jumping around, bouncing around, dancing, singing, just like can't wait to get out there. And then the lady comes, she's like 5 minutes until the pay-per-view starts, and you're up. And I look down at my feet, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, oh shit. Oh, fuck. I'm like, oh shit. Where are my shoes? I'm like, where are my shoes? And then the lady
I gotta ask about that. I'm sorry for interrupting there, Eric, but one thing I gotta ask, man, like, because I know with the UFC you can fight barefoot and whatnot as well. Like, is that against regulations in BKFC, or can you just run out there barefoot and just start just fucking feeding
it? You gotta have boxing shoes. They gotta have boxing shoes, and that's why I say they get better and better with every show. Because in previous shows, say like around like BKFC 12 or something, you would see dudes end up with regular tennis shoes, But in the contract that I got, it was like it said no tennis shoes, boxing shoes only. So I couldn't wear the tennis shoes that I had on. I had to borrow somebody's shoes. And like I said, the lady come in, she's like, the pay-per-view has started. Come on, like walk out. And I'm still barefoot, like when she's telling me to walk out. And I told Adrian Miles, I said, Adrian, bro, I'll give you $100 if you let me use your shoes. And he let me use his shoes, man. And those little feet were so small, bro. They were for a big dude like Adrian Miles, that dude's feet were so small, man. But it is what it is. Ryan is a good guy. I'm sure the victory meant a lot for him. He drove like 6 hours. He had been training for that fight since 2018. If you listen to his interviews, he said he went to the first tryout. Well, not the first trials, but he went to a tryout, the BKFC trial in Philadelphia in 2018. So that means he knew what BKFC was way back then. So if you went to the BKFC trial in Philadelphia and you didn't make it, that means you've been training for this moment since 2018. I just got the phone call last month. I didn't even know that this sport even existed. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know that this sport exists. So they got all these people trying out for this sport that I never even heard of, and I get a phone call to come and do it against a really good, strong, big ass, tall ass dude. I think I did all right, bro. I mean, it's no different than had I been in a crowd eating popcorn, and they said, "Hey, they like check your raffle tickets. You might win a chance to jump in here and fight with this dude." It was like that, but they might as well have called me out of the crowd because a month and a half to prepare for a sport that you've never tried, a sport that you've never know the rules to, you know what I'm saying, that you never even been to one before. I mean, come on, bro. Like I get a lot of crap from people about my record that I lost my first fight. But come on, man. Like I jumped in there. Like this wasn't something that I had time to prepare for over years. You know, I don't have Quentin, Mark Henry, or whatever his name is to train with every day. You know, that has been doing this. You know, I don't have that. I don't have those kind of training partners. So I'm kind of doing this on my own. You know, I got a coach telling me what to do. You know, but I don't have sparring partners that are actually part of this organization. You know what I'm saying? I'm tough, bro. I'm toughing it out, bro. I'm toughing it out.
And I gotta say, man, a lot of these people, man, they tend to talk shit, but at the end of the day, if they're not in the sport, man, they can't sit back and be like, you know, I can beat this guy. Because at the end of the day, they're not in the sport. They're just some people sitting on the couch. You know what I mean? Me personally, if I was in the ring facing you, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I'd jump the ropes, start running. I would just be like, I'm out, bud. Straight up, I'm done. It's a wrap.
Hey, bro. And if there are no ropes to jump, out of, then you shoot and you take them down, bro. You shoot and you take them down, and you that's what you do when you can't jump out of the ropes. That's how I feel about that. That's why I came over to bare knuckle, because there's no takedowns. You know, somebody in the bar, they slap your old lady on the butt. You got two options. You're gonna bare knuckle box them, or you're gonna take them down. Which one you gonna do? You know what
Take
I'm
them
saying?
down, man. Like my personal opinion, man. Like, you know what I mean? They're gonna get ready for the fist. They're not gonna get ready for a takedown, especially in a bar.
Yeah. Well, they're different folks, different strokes, man. Different folks. But yeah, bro. Like BKFC, it's the new thing, man. If you haven't tested out BKFC, then if you want to be a fighter, a real fighter, and you've done kickboxing, you've done boxing, you've done jiu-jitsu tournaments, you've done cage fights, you gotta do BKFC, bro. You have to. You gotta at least try.
But also, Eric, man, before we part ways, though, man, because I know you're a busy guy, man. You got a lot of stuff going on right now. But I got to ask, man, so if you can, man, this is the time in the interview that let's give a chance for the individual that does slide into the radio station airwaves. Like, just a chance to give, like, shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to. And also, if you can, man, drop your social media handles. That way our listeners can actually follow you and, of course, stay updated on everything you got going fighting-wise.
I'm War Daddy Thompson on the Instagram, you know. I'm War Daddy Thompson on Instagram. And yeah, I don't really do the Facebook because I don't want to get, I don't want to run out of the max, the little however many frames they give you. But War Daddy Thompson on Instagram, and my Facebook is open to the public. War Daddy Thompson, so check me out, man. Check out what I got going on. Help me out with the followers, because like I said, BKFC is a popularity contest. It's looking like I'm gonna have to go to BYB and fight in Miami and get my followers up. But follow me, check me out.
But I got to say, first and foremost, man, thank you so much for just giving us a bit of your time this evening, man. I've been a fan of yours for a long time, man. So you know what, champ? Keep knocking them out, man, and I'm going to keep buying them pay-per-views to watch you do it, man. Thank you so much again, Eric.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you, bro.
You are most certainly welcome, man. Anything you need, man, just holla at me, man. I got you.
I sure will, bro. Thank you, man.
Have a good one, brother.